Give it up for Unknown Lyric. Jeremiah and Kevin, they're going to be our featured music this morning at SLCA. Good morning, everybody. How you feeling? Please join us for our opening song and stand. Grateful. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways and the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. Won't you clap your hands? I am grateful, so grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. Sing it like you believe it. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make. I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. Yes, the love of God is here.
Good morning, everybody. You may be seated. Congratulations to those of you who thought you were coming to the 9:30 service and didn't set your clock. And so happy spring forward. Oh, it's a joy to be here with you today. Thank you so much for coming. Again, you outdid yourself last week. Our guest speaker, Greg Lavoie, said, again, Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta, favorite place, and that you treated him so well and he felt so respected and honored. So once again, kudos to you for supporting all of the beautiful people that want to come and be with us. I want to draw your attention to this vase. Look at all of this varying layers of sand. There's great meaning in that. Yesterday, we had our very first, I'll move so you can see it, our very first leadership summit. And this leadership summit was the brainchild of Lori Palco, our treasurer of the board, and Lane Morgan, our ministerial intern, if you would stand. What these layers of sand represent is that every single person who is a practitioner or who is on the board or who serves on the staff, they were here and created intentions, and each one had to pour in a cup of theirs, and volunteers had to pour into their, and this is an amalgamation of all of those intentions. If you look on the back of the board when you go, you'll see that this is what we came up with regards to our value-based intentions as a center, and I couldn't have been more proud and joyous over the fact that such dedicated work went into that. So thank you so much for doing that for us. And so again, happy spring. I don't know about you, but I am ready for spring. And so here's Mr. Tulip himself, David Aurelio.
I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let that go. There's so much I could say. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Spiritual Living Center. We are a center that recognizes everyone on their spiritual path. We hope to be a place of great inspiration, thus allowing you to tap into your inherent greatness and to live the life you love. I want to draw your attention to something really quickly, not Reverend David and not Ty, but those beautiful flowers. We had one of our longtime members make his transition. That was Frederick Raymond, transitioned last week. We did a memorial service with his family last Thursday. Reverend David officiated, and it was right here. And the family was so, they'd never been to the center. They knew that Frederick talked about it for years and years and years. And he went back to the Kennedy days and talked about the center and how much he loved it here. And it wasn't until they came and they met Reverend David and experienced the center that they just said, now we know why Frederick loved this community so much. So they wanted to leave something of him with us to share, and it's to say thank you to all of you and to this community. So we know that Frederick is soaring, and we know that his transition was beautiful and effortless, and so this beautiful arrangement is from the family, and so we wanted to say thank you to all of you. So we'll just honor Frederick in that way. We've got lots of good stuff happening in March with classes, and before I get into the live classes that are going on, let's get a quick update with Tracy Owens, SLI, Spiritual Living Institute.
Good morning. So everyone knows me and that I'm affiliated with Spiritual Living Institute. That's our online education arm. And all of you know how to find it. spirituallivinginstitute.org. You know how to get on the website and go check out the amazing courses that we offer. We've got 2 that are going on right now, 2 more that are launching on April the 1st. Our very own Lori Palco, treasurer to the board, she's launching a class on April 1st. Cynthia James is offering a women's course on April 1st. And you can all go and check that out, because I know I champion each and every one of you to go and check those out and check out the blogs. But what I really want to focus on today is something that I made a commitment to yesterday during that leadership summit. When I was pouring that sand and moments after, when we were doing these exercises, I was connecting with what is my commitment to SLCA and SLI. What is my personal commitment? My personal commitment is to create a grander expression of my gratitude for each and every person that is connected, that is supporting, not only here at SLCA, but those who have assisted me with SLI. And so I want to call to your attention a few people right now, and I'm going to put them on the spot, but I want to call forward Daniel Eldridge. Will you please stand? Daniel has supported me in ways that you guys have not even known. You don't even see it on the back end. He has supported me in editing. He supported me with administrative duties. He supported me with just his presence, just to say, girl, you got this. Just, it's all good. So thank you. Thank you for all the many ways that you continue to show up. I want to thank Melanie. Where is she? Melanie, I know you're here. Melanie Koenig, thank you. Thank you, thank you for all of the many ways that you assisted us before we moved right into Spiritual Living Institute. I really do appreciate all of your assistance and your go-to that I can call and say, I don't know how to do this, help me. Thank you. I also want to thank Joe Labriola, who showed up for our leadership summit yesterday. He is assisting us. He's assisting us in all the many ways that we are going to get this message out on a global scale. So know that with us, that he is assisting, as well as Davna from 60 Second Communications. She was also here. She's been assisting me with email marketing, with blogging, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I could go on and on with the people, Karen Ratz and Lori Palco, and all the people that have supported in the many ways with SLI. So let's just know together that this thing is building momentum like we have never seen before. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. And we're going to keep that momentum going with the live classes. We've got 2 classes with Reverend David starting this week. On Monday, March the 9th, we've got from 11 to 1 and 7 to 9, we're starting TROWARD, Creative Process of the Individual. And that's going to be, again, Mondays, starting tomorrow, 11 to 1 and 7 to 9. And if that class doesn't appeal to you, you've got another class with Reverend David on Thursdays, which is Building a Healing Consciousness. That's Thursdays, also 11 to 1 and 7 to 9. Now, registration has been great. Thank you, thank you, thank you for honoring me with that, because you know I love to plan. So I love that everybody's registered. You may still register today for that class. You may even register in the first 2 weeks of those classes. So please show up tomorrow or let us know today, and the books are available in the bookstore. You can see Scheherazade to get everything set for classes. Lane Morgan's going to be starting an abundance class starting on April the 1st, and that is no joke. So you certainly want to make sure you get into that class if you certainly want to get involved in that. Those classes will take us through the beginning of summer, and then we'll be launching out the new classes for summer and into fall later on. So I just wanted to, again, the flyers and the brochures are out there on the education desk with a Spiritual Living Institute, so please make your way out there and sign up if you can. Our community outreach continues, our Families First Basics Drive. As you know, I announced last week, we're joining with the City of Atlanta to help with certain initiatives that we feel so we can do more for the community and be more participatory. So we are joining with this Families First Basics Drive to help young mothers trying to get their feet on the ground and provide basic baby necessities for their baby needs. So if you are interested in participating in that, if that's something you're interested in, we've got flyers that say what exactly they're needing, and we've got a box in the lobby. So throughout the entire month, it's in the newsletter, that'll remind you. But again, if you'd like to do that, grab a flyer, see if it's something you want to participate in, drop it in the box. We'll make sure it gets delivered to the City of Atlanta. You know, a while back, we stopped doing Wisdom on Wednesdays, and we said we'll bring it back on occasion for a special event. Well, we've got the special event of special events. So on March 25th, so mark that date, March 25th, Tenzin Lama Sherpa. He's a world-renowned Buddhist monk, is going to be here, and he's going to be doing a talk titled The Nature and the Healing Power of the Mind, and it's going to be amazing. So he's going to do a talk, he's going to do a meditation, and time permitting, he's going to do individual blessings. So this is Wednesday night, the 25th of March. It is Love Offering, so please join us if you can. Flyers are out there. We'll remind you throughout the month, but you do not want to miss that. And again, a reminder about, Michael Beckwith and his beautiful wife, the award-winning singer-songwriter Ricky Byers-Beckwith, are going to be part of the Launch Your Vision, Spirit, Mind, and Body Holistic Wellness Symposium that Atlanta Unity is sponsoring on April 24th and 25th. Your ticket price gets you attendance to both of those events. And the incentive, if you get your ticket through us, which we have on sale here, they donate a proceed back to the center that sells that ticket. So if you'd like to participate in that, please see us, because we are selling those tickets here.
and we'd love to get you on board for that. We'll also be presenting Spiritual Living Institute there at the symposium, so we're excited about that. Also, just a reminder, the board had the new board, the ones you voted on, have now had their first meeting last week, and they've come up with several ways in which they can be available to you. I know several people have asked me, how do I get in touch with the board member? I'd like to meet with the board member, etc. So you'll see again, after the service, when David is receiving people, there will always be one board member available there, so you can also get quickly get answers or questions to them. In addition, on the first Sunday of every month after the second service, they will be meeting, or a contingency of them will meet to hear out anyone who has any ideas or suggestions or just thoughts that they want to share with the board. And then, of course, we'll have other ideas for them that you can reach out to them through their website, or our website, their page on the website. So again, thank you to the board for making yourselves available to us. That's fantastic. Also, any first-time visitors joining us for the very first time today, raise your hands high in the sky. Stand on up so we can welcome you. We've got a special gift. What you're receiving is a CD. You can take that to our welcome table and redeem that for one of Reverend Dr. David Ault's talks, especially selected for you. We hope you'll join us again. You know, we do new member orientation every other month. Our next one is April 5th, which is Easter Sunday. So double incentive to join us. But if you come, we'll answer all your questions about becoming a member and more information about this beautiful community. Thank you so much for your attention. Enjoy this gorgeous weather, because I hear tomorrow it's crap. So we're going to definitely get to that. So if you could take this opportunity to shut off any cell phones you might have, I would be grateful and appreciative. Thanks so much. Have a great day and a blessed week.
Mr. Spring, why do you do that to us? You're so fickle. Oh, take your beautifully designed programs and stand with me. On the inside is called our Declaration of Principle. I invite you to read that with me together. I believe in one God, one absolute power in first cause to all things. I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe that all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all. If you'd remain standing, on the inside is our song this month, Let Love Reign.
Let love reign. Let love reign. Let love reign. Let love reign. Let it rain all over your life. Let it bring you back to yourself. Let it reach out farther than eyes can see. Let it be. Let it be. Let love reign. Let love reign. Where are my choir members? Let love reign. Let love reign. Let love reign. Let it rain all over your life. Let it bring you back to yourself. Let it reach out farther than eyes can see. Let it be. Let it be.
Welcome those around you and say good morning. One of the things we definitely need to work on here is to get you guys to love one another. It's an issue I've been praying about. We did not do this last week since I wasn't here and we had a guest speaker, so we've decided to do our Flames of Faith ceremony today, which we normally hold on the first Sunday of the month. So I invite you to prepare with me in consciousness as we allow ourselves to become a greater degree or a greater embodiment of what it means to be one. I'll just speak for myself. I was quite moved by our president's speech yesterday from Selma, Alabama. And it just reminded me of the necessity to be the embodiment of peace and to know that it doesn't matter how many people achieve that. If just one person achieves that it begins to establish a ripple effect that cannot be denied. Cannot be denied. And so today, I think I would like to dedicate this ceremony to all of those, our own beautiful Congressman John Lewis, and to all those people who continue to be such an inspiration of that peace today. So I invite you to join me as you look at these flames of faith behind me. I want to remind you that each of these represent one of the world's religions. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. And so let your eyes cast on any one of the candles. And that first candle is for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium known as the natural way. The second candle is for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples known as the way of primal spirituality. Third is the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. And number 4 is the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. 5 is the candle that represents all forms of Buddhism, honoring the 4 noble truths and the path of compassion. 6th is the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. And the 7th candle represents all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The 8th candle represents the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. And 9 is the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle is the candle that we call the healing candle. It is an invitation extended to you to look into the flame of that 10th candle and to put into that flame the essence, the spirit, the name of anyone within your life that you wish to have experience the healing power of God's eternal love. And so it is. And we continue in this ceremony for the season for peace and nonviolence, allowing ourselves to extend that to one more candle, which is the peace candle. And we are so honored this morning to have one of our magnificent teens, Hunter Johnson, to come and speak to you today about peace.
Hello, everybody. All right. Well, my name is Hunter Johnson, and I've been a part of the congregation for 10 years now. I was at the Woodruff doing jump rope with Mr. Bill and stuff. And so I've been with this whole church group and family for a really long time, and you've taught me a lot. The church has taught me a lot. It's taught me how to enjoy my positive in my life, like family and love, but it also taught me how to cope with the negative that comes to me. And there's negative everywhere. There's negative in the news, at school, even in my own family, there's a lot of negative. So the way I thought and the way I've coped with my negative in my life is that I distant myself from it. I like to, my mom, we don't even watch the news anymore. Super Soul Sunday, Oprah show is our news. So, because if you turn on the news, all you see is ISIS has killed somebody, or Ebola's taking over, diseases, murder in our own community, and it's like, all that does is make you sad, and it just make you think like, wow, what do we have? Like, it's just depressing. So it's like, why do you even want that in your life? And I was blessed with one of the greatest families ever. I have my brother here today, my mom, my dad. Not everybody has that, and I'm so blessed to just have that. But even with my own family, we have our own struggles. You know, people arguing with each other, hatred, internal war. And I'm in the middle of it because that's just how family is. You know, family's always going to try to pick sides, but I thought you can't really pick sides with your own family because you're just going to be sad. You know, you're never, ever going to win. So I distance myself. I cope. I just have to have my own internal peace. So I didn't have much to speak on today. I wanted to come talk to you guys. And so I just want to say, if you're down and you're not feeling well, take some time for yourself and just be happy, you know? Thank you for having me.
And so as Hunter lights the candle, I invite you to do the same and allow this light to be an intention for you to be the advocate for peace. Thank you, Hunter, so much. Thank you. I invite you to stay in this sacred space as we move into our affirmative prayer time with our practitioner, Janet Riley.
I loved hearing that wisdom come from that young man. And it gives me such appreciation to know that he's not the only one in that age group who thinks that way and feels that way. And I know he probably enjoys this place as much as I do, because this is a place I walk into and everybody's smiling and there's so many hugs. So for whatever else is going on in the world outside these walls, we always have here, and we have each other. And we all know the truth that I'm going to share with you now in the first person, but I invite you to get comfortable in your chair, take a deep breath, and if you choose, close your eyes. And we turn our focus to the peace that is always, always available to us when we look for it. I know there is only one pure, living energy, life force. One life, one mind, one intelligence. I call this source, this intelligence, God. I know that God is all there is. And because I exist, I am a part of, connected to, an expression of fully living spirit. I know there is nothing in opposition to this truth. And through my thoughts, I can choose to create my life in such a way that it reflects the wholesome, the good, the pure, the health, the healing, the wholeness, and the oneness that is back of all creation. Whatever appearances may be, I know the truth behind it. All there is God. All there is good. And it is for me. I am completely supported in all of my decisions and choices. And know that whatever I choose is exactly what shows up in my life's experience. I use the wit, wisdom, and intelligence of pure divine mind to guide me in those choices. I live freely, fully, wholly, and know that there is absolutely no one or no thing that has more power than I do to choose to breathe in the very breath of God. I choose peace. I choose health. I choose prosperity in every form. And I allow the love that is my true nature to shine through my eyes and speak through my lips as I set my intention to be the best expression of God that I can. Knowing this to be the truth for me and for everyone everywhere, with a heart full of gratitude for knowing this, gratitude for this beautiful spiritual home, gratitude for the planet on which we live, I say thank you and ask that you release this now with me by saying, and so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me.
Can you hear me? I am Dana Robinson, one of the members of the young adult group here known as Kinetic Ascent. We have been given this great opportunity to continue to bring in the artists for the season of peace and nonviolence. Today I'm introducing to you Unknown Lyric. I'll tell you a little bit about them. They're an acoustic, classically infused instrumental duo out of Atlanta, Georgia. By fusing classical Beethoven with the urban grooves and contemporary sounds of new age, Unknown Lyric is on a mission to introduce a new genre of music. With Unknown Lyric, their craft is more than just a craft. It is a way of life. Winners of Renan Miller's Atlanta's Next Best 3.0 in 2011, as well as 3-time Apollo Amateur Night winners, Unknown Lyric has created a movement called classical fusion. With their unique sound, they will surely captivate and inspire. Please welcome Unknown Lyric.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys so very much for having us. I did not mention the name of the first piece. The first piece we performed, well, the first two actually, The Journey and Redemption. This next piece we will be performing is titled Farewell. I'm sorry. I drew a blank. I'm sorry. It's the light. Farewell is the piece we're going to perform now. I'm Kevin on violin, and this is Jeremiah on guitar, and hope you guys enjoy. Thank you.
We are so blessed. I want to thank the Kinetic Ascent, the young adult people, for having such vision and such tenacity of spirit to bring us such amazing. I've said it once, and I will continue to say it. We are in very good hands. Our future is in very good hands. So last Sunday, I had the privilege to speak at a convention in Tampa, and it was doubly fun because one of my besties was there, my friend Karen Drucker, and she was on the program with me. And so I did the morning event, and then we had things throughout the day, and then I was going to leave on Monday morning to drive back. And she said, "Oh, let's have breakfast first before you go." I said, "Okay." So we met early that morning, and we decided that we wanted to go outside of the hotel and walk along the waterway in Tampa where the cruise ships are. There's a lot of new construction and hotels and stuff all down there. And so we went on a little excursion and came across another lovely, lovely hotel that had a breakfast buffet, and you could actually sit by the water. And so we looked at each other and we said, "Let's do this." So we go in, and the waitress asks us where we want to sit. We said, "By the water." And so she got us a table, and she took our drink orders, and then she instructed us to go inside to where the buffet was. And so we went in, and I got a beautiful bowl of oatmeal with blueberries on it, and a meticulously crafted omelet that had everything imaginable that I love. And so I'm walking out with these two plates of food, and I observe the waitress in front of me going through the door that takes you to the outside seating. And she used her backside to open the door. And I soon realized why, because this door was like hermetically sealed. I mean, this thing was so tight. So I followed suit, and I, used what backside I have to open that door, and I went and I set my food down. And then I thought, the chivalrous part of me came, and I said, you should go back in and wait for Karen and open the door for her. And so I did, and I went in and I waited, and about 90 seconds later, here she comes with our food. So I opened the door so she wouldn't have to go through the heavy door. And as soon as we turned around to walk towards our table, there was a flock of seagulls eating my food. In fact, the blueberries were gone, the oatmeal was flown, the omelet was nowhere to be seen, and the waitress ran up in a panic, and she said, "Oh, my son, I'm so sorry, you're not supposed to leave your food unattended." Lesson learned. Lesson learned. So I went back in and repeated the meticulously crafted omelet, and came back and joined Karen. And I was driving home, and I was thinking about that, and I thought, there are certain things in life where we just get it. We only need one time to learn a lesson. If I were to ever eat there again, I would know that you just don't leave your food unattended. And there are experiences in life, things that I will call the laws of nature, that teach us those lessons and that we abide by, and we're really good at abiding by those laws. For example, it only takes us once to touch a hot coil on a stove to realize that, I don't want to do that again. And we don't have to repeat that lesson and make that mistake over and over again. Now, I will say, this week I had another opportunity. I cooked my own fish at home. I was very proud of that, but not so proud about an hour and a half later when my body reacted in such a beautifully explosive way and looking for any outlet that it could to expel that fish. And I'm still kind of recovering from that, and that's why I'm going to be drinking a lot of fluid today. But that's one lesson you get to learn. The lesson being, smell your fish before you eat it. There are other physical laws. There are other physical laws that, whether you realize it or not, we've just taken them for granted. For example, and there's going to be no debate about this, but by the fact that if you take an acorn and you put that acorn into soil, that an oak tree will grow. And it's kind of unfathomable to us to realize that to hold something that the oak is already in the acorn. It's already there. The genius of that which is life and the perpetuation of life and the eternality of life is found in all kinds of avenues. And we accept that, and we don't negate it, and we don't debate it, and we don't forget about it. We realize in the physical laws that there's got to be this thing called the earth rotating on its axis, because you and I experience night and day. We experience the revolving around the sun. We know, we accept that, and we don't argue with that, nor do we forget it because of its constancy and in the way in which it shows up for us. There are physical laws that actually determine the way in you and I choose to live. If I'm not a person who appreciates the cold, then the physical laws are probably going to prompt me not to move to Minnesota. More or less to move to the Caribbean or somewhere else that's going to be in alignment with what it is that I like. And it's not that the weather is bad. It's not that the seagulls are bad. It's not that any of those things are bad. They're just operating out of instinct, right? And it's up to us then to adapt to those physical laws. And you realize what I mean by adapting. We learn the lesson and then we make a choice. We adapt to our relationship with that physical law. Makes perfect sense, right? I'm going to adapt my behavior because I've learned something. And the beautiful thing about learning something is that once it's learned, hopefully it sticks. And that begins to morph and change and to expand our behavior and the way in which we do things. So you and I are really, really good with our relationship with physical laws. We are. Even when we don't think about them, we're operating by them day by day, and we've got that down. Now here's the fun part. We don't have such a success rate with what I call the laws of spirit. The laws of spirit. The laws of spirit, then, are the laws that are centered around the way in which you and I think. You would think that when we think, that if we thought something that was not congruent with our highest self, that we wouldn't think that thought again. But alas, those seagulls come and continue to chew away at our resources until such time that we do learn it. So our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, that which created the universe is, and he said it in present tense, is creating us. That which created the universe is creating us. And that really gave me pause, because we often say that the intelligence of the universe is the intelligence within us. But to know that the intelligence is ongoing, it's present constantly. It doesn't have a shelf life or an expiration date like that fish in my refrigerator. It doesn't have that. It's constant. It's constant. So that which created the universe is creating us now. So pause for a moment and think about the universe, the cosmology of all that is. And I remember I was thinking about this when I was writing a portion in my book about the universe and the common question that we ask ourselves, who am I? Who am I? And of course, that crosses our minds all the time. And I came upon this idea that a better question was to ask, where am I? And the question, where am I, ultimately lends itself to the awareness that we are in the universe. Where we are is in the universe. And what is the universe? Well, by definition of our founder, Ernest Holmes, he says the universe is a perfect patterning, a cosmic whole. So think about that. Where am I? That question, where am I? I'm in the universe. I'm a part of the universe, and that is a perfect patterning. He goes on to say that if the universe were not perfect, and I love this, if the universe were not perfect, it could not exist for a single moment. It could not exist for a single moment. I've shared that with you before, but I continue to go back to it because it has such profound depth to me. Because the significance of realizing that if the universe were not perfect, it could not exist for a single moment, tells us that all of the elements then of the universe must also be what? Perfect. So if I'm going to go back to the original question of who am I? Well, where am I is the universe, which is perfect patterning. And then all of the systems that are a part of that must be perfect. So the where am I is that spiritual cosmological viewpoint. The who am I then is a perfect being. And the why am I here is to express that perfection. Why am I here is to express that perfection. And believe it or not, we are capable of doing that. To have designed us in a way to have that be unattainable would be cruel. Because our whole life's purpose, the evolution of our soul and our assignment here, is to move into the layers, into the absorption, into the embodiment of that perfection to the degree that we're willing to do that. And it's an open channel, it's open availability. And the lessons that are there for us are there for us to learn, and for us to adhere to the lesson, or to constantly go back and to continue to repeat them over and over again. And wouldn't it be great if we had the mastery of spiritual law just like we have the mastery of the physical laws? And that's our goal. And that's why you and I are here, is to revisit, to re-educate, to re-examine, to relearn these things time and time again in order to assist us to be on our soul's path and on our soul's purpose. And so our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, we are urged to believe that the universe is good. Tricky thing sometimes when we fall prey to the human ideal, when we look at the world through the human lens. But he's telling us to believe that the universe is good. I'll buy that. Because I do believe that the universe is a perfect patterning. And that any indiscretion that I experience from that is not the universe's fault. Just like it's not the seagull's fault. The universe is operating in its intelligence. It's up to me. It's up to me to be in alignment with it, not for it to come down to me. You see? And so, no matter what happens, Ernest says, disregarding everything that we may see, the universe itself has to be good, or you and I wouldn't be here. It has to be constructive, or it would destroy itself. We may be certain that whomever complies with the laws of nature will find the laws of nature complying with them. But somehow or other, he says, we haven't quite thought that spiritual and mental laws are just as real as the physical ones. So for reasons that seem far-fetched and confusing, it does not take me once to learn these laws of spirit. It takes me a multitude of times, perhaps even lifetimes, to learn these lessons. And so repeated practice is the name of the game. Our mission, and I believe it's one of the finest missions that you will ever come across, is to reawaken all to their spiritual magnificence. Do you get the profundity of that? To reawaken all. And the impact of the word reawaken means that already inside of you is the awakening. Already the awakening has happened. Already the awakening is the equal, I'm making up words, is the equal to the perfection that you are. It's already there. It's not something that needs to be earned or acquired. It's already there. And so when we open and allow ourselves to that, then what happens is we become more and more in the awakened nature of who and what we are. And so our spiritual magnificence then has the ability to see the light of day, to be expressed, to be experienced, to be real and to be integrous with what it is that we say we are, who we are, and the way in which we behave. To reawaken all to their spiritual magnificence. And it takes repeated practice to know that by choosing fear, this law of spirit will give me what? Something to be fearful of. It takes me a multitude of times to finally understand that dwelling on what I don't want will continue to offer me more of the same. No matter how many people join my party, no matter how many people align with me and going, yeah, I know, ain't it awful? And so now I have one big ain't it awful party, and what we continue to manufacture is more ain't it awful. And that's the way the law of spirit works. Wouldn't it be great if I only had to do that once? If the seagull of Ain't It Awful only came once, and then I never had to practice that again. But somehow that's not true. And so it's this fascinating, mysterious mission that you and I are on, to understand and to apply the laws of spirit and to be at one with them just like we are with the physical laws. I was thinking as I was driving back and contemplating this idea, this thought came to mind. I get to be ignorant once. I get to be ignorant once. If I do it again, it, meaning engagement in incongruent thought patterns or diminishing action that battles with the laws of spirit, if I do it again, I'm not ignorant. I'm just unwilling. And I might, I like that, and I might even try to mask my unwillingness by playing ignorant. But you see, once you open Pandora's box, once you expose yourself to some semblance of truth, principle, you can't go back. You can't go back. And so there is a beautiful consequence, and I like the word consequence actually, because I believe that consequence helps us in returning to the perfect patterning that is within us. Consequence teaches us to realign, to reassess, to reconfigure, and to go back to the truth of who and what we are. If we didn't have consequence, what would we learn? What would we gain? So there's lots of consequence in my life that I've seen. I've noticed that by particular thought patterns and particular behavior, this happens. And the insanity of that is thinking, ooh, I don't want that, but I'm not going to change this thought pattern. Duh. And so we live by a model, we are called to live by a model that we believe before we see. We believe before we see. And again, you're good at this. It's not hard to believe that there is an oak and an acorn seed. It's not hard to believe that because we have evidence, we have consequence of that particular principle. And so our job then is to continue to move into more alignment with this believing to seeing model. We cannot see the end result of a creative endeavor, but we can know that through cooperation with steadfast positive thought, that the creative endeavor will see the light and grow and flourish in direct correspondence with our belief. This isn't wishful thinking or pie-in-the-sky platitudes. It is irrefutable, immutable law. So I want you to think about the four main characteristics of life, the four main things that all of us are concerned about, the four things that model our behavior, that motivate us, that freak us out sometimes. Those things are, number one, relationships. How do you apply the law of spirit, the mental law, to relationships? There's so much activity in our world where we are the walking wounded, and I'm looking for that peace to fill me, to make me whole. I'm looking for that person who's going to complete me. I'm looking for the validation outside of myself that I so desperately desire from another being. And as long as I abide by that particular expression of the law, then two things happen. Number one is I remain in a state of brokenness by my own choosing, and then I set myself up. Oh boy, do I set myself up for one continuous disappointment after another. Because I'm looking for somebody to fix it and to do it and to fulfill what it is that's my job to fulfill. Disappointment has been a really interesting topic for me this week, and I wrote about it in our newsletter. And I said, stick around me long enough and you will become disappointed by me. You will. It's just inevitable, given our human nature, because I will do something that you won't like. I will hurt your feelings, or you will catch me in a moment where my human nature is more active than my spiritual nature. I will forget your name, or I will do something that will sever the barrier of the persona that you see up here with what you experience out there. It's good, juicy stuff, right? And see, what that does is, what that disappointment does is, well, let me just add this. I will disappoint you. You will be disappointed. You will disappoint people, and you will be disappointed. It's just the way it is. If we continue to not get the way in which spiritual law works, we are just then one big bundle of disappointment. How do we transcend that? By understanding first and foremost that seed of perfection, that who we are, that cannot be revoked, that cannot be diminished, is waiting on us to recognize it. So think about it. If I do that, if I own my own sense of self, if I own who I am, if I do my work whereby I abide in that understanding of wholeness, that there is nothing about me that needs to be fixed, that who I am at my core is a divine expression of God, if I can continue to return to that time and time again, then don't you see the difference that I will be and how my relationships will be with other people by showing up that way? I won't need anything from someone. I will come fully possessed of all that is necessary to be whole and to experience wholeness. The beauty of that is that then I get to show up with richness. Then I get to show up without agenda. Then I get to show up fully present. And I get to offer you whatever it is that overflows from my being, not from a place of need and desperation, but from two whole people coming together and experiencing a new degree of wholeness. And that's by understanding that we have the opportunity to use the law of spirit, the law of mind, in the way in which we think about ourselves. So think about that. It's not just about new relationships. It's even about the relationships that we're in now. It's even about marriages that have been going on for years and years and years. It's even about friendships that may be decades old. And realizing, where are we continuing this cycle of disappointment? And what is that really about? Is it about the other person? Or is it about the fact that I have forgotten that I am at the ability and the access to the laws of spirit? And I love the way in which the universe gives us consequence and the opportunity to remember that. The second one is creative expression. Again, another biggie. That is at the desire and the burning sensation of every single one of our passionate hearts. What will happen to me? Who will listen to me? What will be my gift, my legacy to the world? Who will understand this burning desire inside of me? Who will receive it? If I use the law of spirit in such a way, the law of thought, by saying that I'm not enough, then I am received by a world that views me as not enough. And I am repeatedly rejected. And yet the seagull of rejection comes again and again and again and eats at the plate of our creativity. And we go, what? And we feel abused and we feel neglected and we feel unseen. But the reality is we haven't yet fully embraced our work, which is to get to that position of understanding that our creativity has to be self-appreciated and self-cultivated before we can expect the world to appreciate it in kind. Makes perfect sense, right? The way that I view myself is going to be the reflection by which the world sees me. Wouldn't it be a beautiful thing? Wouldn't it be wonderful to get that lesson just once and not have to go through the agony and the pain over and over and over again? To be able to go, ouch, okay, that hurts. Don't want to do that again. My responsibility is not to touch the hot stove of my own personal doubt and neglect. I don't have to do that again. I get to sense that what I have to say or the avenue by which my talent comes through is of value. And it's my job to honor that value and to watch, to just simply watch, because there's no effort involved with the laws of spirit. There's no efforting whatsoever. It's just this beautiful symbiotic exchange that whatever it is that I think, it comes back to me. No effort. So to the degree that I honor what it is that I have, my talents, is the degree in which the world honors that back to me. The other one is our prosperity, the thing that hovers over many of us in the world. And again, the same principle applies. The universe is for me. The universe is for me in regards to offering me all of its infinite supply. It is. The universe is on our side. So if the universe is for me in regards to my infinite supply, then what is it my job to do? My job is to recognize it, to see it, to allow it. My job is to practice being in the flow. What would you say the model was? To believe it before you see it? And so here's where we get kind of hitched in this particular item, is that for many of us, with regards to our prosperity, our financial well-being, our jobs, the way in which we're compensated, for many of us, what happens is that sometimes when we don't see it, it's hard to believe it. And we get into the density of that fear. And the thing is that the more that we prolong the fear, and the more that we dwell upon the fear, and the more that then we engage with the fear, which makes us withhold, then the more we just continue to repeat the pattern of not having enough. It's not that the money isn't there. It's not that the prosperity isn't there. It's not that the ways and the means and the goods are not there. It's that at some level, using the laws of spirit, I'm not in compliance with that. And so I'm continuing to walk around in my fear. And then the last one, wholeness. The universe is for me in regards to offering all its cleansing and restorative power. The universe is for me. One of the things that I've learned about wholeness and about restoration is that it is beyond our singular human definition of what we think restoration is. Wholeness, you see, can happen in a myriad of ways. Yes, someone could be healed physically, and we would celebrate that, and we would honor that, and we would give thanks for that, and we would be so happy. But I've also seen wholeness happen, and I saw it in these last few weeks with the life of Frederick Raymond, one of our longtime members. I watched how his transitioning brought wholeness to that family. And you see, in my book, that's the same kind of healing and the same potent healing as if his physical body had been restored. To me, what I understand about that is wholeness comes in all kinds of forms. And sometimes that wholeness shows up at the 11th hour when a family that perhaps hasn't talked to one another, or where there's been a rift in some kind of relationship, or when there have been words that have not been spoken, that when those things are finally healed, then it's as if the soul of the person who has facilitated that has done their work. And do you get that that's just as much of a valid healing as if there was a physical healing? But sometimes when we think about wholeness and we think about the things that seem to be out of our reach and out of our strength and out of our capability and out of our grasp and out of our experience, that we get so frustrated that here's what we do then with the law of spirit, is that we begin to denigrate this. We begin to denigrate this vessel that we've been given. We forget the beautiful perfection, the seed that is embedded in the acorn, the oak of our being. We forget that, and we begin to deny it and to curse it and to blame it. And what happens then with the law of spirit if that's what we do? We continue then to stagnate. We continue to shrivel in regards to what wholeness really means, and we separate ourselves from the experience that's wanting to be given to us. And so it's fascinating. It's fascinating. We get the laws of nature and we comply right away. And here we are, doing our work together with the laws of spirit. and to remind ourselves that the universe is for us. I want you to think about that. When I talk about relationships, the universe is for me regarding all of my relationships. Say that. The universe is for me regarding all of my relationships. Stop and breathe that in for a minute. And where do you have problems with that? And I want you to know that the problem doesn't exist out there. The disconnect is in here. Creative expression. The universe is for me regarding all of my creative endeavors. The universe is for me regarding all of my creative endeavors. Again, breathe. Where are you still living in some mode of unfairness? And are you willing to let that go? To be able to have that breakthrough? With regards to prosperity, the universe is for me in regards to offering all of its infinite supply. The universe is for me in regards to offering all of its infinite supply. Again, the universe is for me in regards to offering all of its infinite supply. Breathe. Do you get the freedom that awaits you? Do you get the freedom that awaits all of us when we can allow that to be our truth? And lastly, the universe is for me in regards to offering all its cleansing and restorative power. The universe is for me in regards to offering me all its cleansing and restorative power. Breathe that in. We often say that we have already won. We are already designed in a perfect patterning from a perfect universe. And our mission, I like to think of, is a mission of play. It is a mission of joy. It is not intended to be a mission of hardship. It is not intended to be a mission of disconnect and of grudges and of sorrow. It is our time. It is our time to live our mission and to reawaken each of us to our spiritual magnificence. And so it is. Thank you. Christine, Job, did I see you over there? Come up here, girl. Hey. Another one of our amazing kinetic ascent young adults. You don't know this about Christine, but remember I talked about me all the time walking the Camino? She did it too. And yeah. And what did you just tell me last night? You're going to go do it again?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Would you just give them some words of what you're grateful for and then lead us in our
sure.
affirmation for grateful giving?
Sorry, I'm dressed like a bum today. I was kind of running late. I'm really grateful for this center because it has provided me with just a grounding in this truth, a fellowship in this truth. It's one thing to read and to study by yourself and to know it intellectually. It's completely different to have fellowship and to have that camaraderie with people who are living it. And when you are not living it, you can look to people and really and be inspired. And also, I'm part of Kinetic Ascent, which is our young adult group. And it's just really, really awesome to have young people, young professionals just living this truth, changing the world. We have so many big projects going on right now. It's pretty incredible. So if you want to join, come join us, you know. Or if you know anyone in our age range, come join us too. or if you just want to come, you can come hang out. All right, with that, here's our affirmation for grateful giving. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Thank you.
Great job, Christine. As our guests are coming back to the stage, I would like for you to know that if you like what you hear, you can take them home with you because they have CDs out in the lobby. So we welcome again Unknown Lyric.
Yes, we are back to you guys. Like I said, I'm Kevin on violin. This is Jeremiah on guitar. This last selection is titled "Melody at Midnight," and it is it's an intense piece. I mean, a lot of them are intense, so you know. But this is intenser, I believe. You know, intenser. So. We met. I'm from Miami, and he's from California, and he's been in Atlanta a while. So for some reason, he doesn't like to claim Atlanta. I don't know why. I don't know why.
I love Atlanta. I just also love where I'm from, California as well.
If you've been here more than 8 years, you're from here. You know, you're from here. You know. Well, I mean that's how I view it. But I met Jeremiah on the MARTA bus in 2009, and we are still here 6+ years later. Is it 6 years, 7 years? Okay, thank you. Thank you. And you know, we just wanted to do something different and something that's not normal, that you don't normally see. So we formed Unknown Lyric. So I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves. We enjoyed being here. And please see us after service. And we're going to play this last selection for you. Oh, you want to talk?
Can I talk for like 0.2 seconds? Hi. I want to say thank you guys so very much for allowing us to play for you. This has been a gift to us. And any gift that you get, you are obligated to give that gift as many times to whoever might need it. So we cherish the opportunity to sit and just genuinely play our heart outs for anybody who are willing to listen. So for you to be so open for our message, to our message and everything, we want to say thank you so very much. This is humbling. Thank you to the church. Thank you so very much for having us here. We are Unknown Lyric. We're going to start in our next song. Thank you.
remain standing. If our practitioners would come forward. Our practitioners would come forward in their lineup here. Oof. I ask you to seek one of these individuals out so that they can help recalibrate each and every one of us to live and be in alignment with those laws of spirit, to know the truth of us. And let us sing our closing song.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. And have a blessed week, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.